गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश 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 सारीश शरणं शरणं सारीश 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 गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश सारीश शरणं शरणं सारीश 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 गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेश वनमाली वासुदेव जगन्मोहन राधा रमण वनमाली वासुदेव जगन्मोहन राधा रमण 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 शशिवदना सरसिजनयना 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 जगन्मोहन राधा रमण वनमाली वासुदेव जगन्मोहन राधा रमण जगन्मोहन राधा रमण जगन्मोहन राधा रमण शशिवदना सरसिजनयना 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 जगन्मोहन राधा रमण 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 Radharamana 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 Vanamali Vasudeva Jaganmohana Radharamana. Rama Sumira Mana 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 Janaki Vallabha Dasharatha Nandana Janaki Vallabha Dasharatha Nandana Ramachandra Shri Ram Ramachandra Shri Ram Bhajaman Sita Ram Ram Bhajaman Sita Ram Bhajaman Radhe Sham Sham Bhajaman Radhe Sham Bhajaman Sita Ram Ram Bhajaman Sita Ram Rama Sumira Mana Rama Sumira Mana.
Hari Om all. Please, a quick housekeeping rules. As you log in, please display your full name and the center name, just like, for example, for me, it's Anu Nathan, Chenmaya Mission Atlanta, like that. If you could do that. And we kindly also request you to keep your video on for the entire time so that Swamiji can just see you also. And we also want to make sure that it's our members who are on this one. Do keep it on the speaker view, and that way you'll be able to see the Swamiji in full screen instead of, I know we're all tempted to actually look through who all the participants are. Okay, and please stay on the mute as well, and make sure you're on the mute, and that way we don't have any disturbances. As I started saying, try not to scroll through the screens, as we are all tempted to do that one. And as with any other ones, please don't walk around with your phone or your iPad or anything on. And please be safe. And thank you all again for attending this wonderful Labor Day camp. Truly wish we all could do it in person. We'll wait for Swamiji now.
See, wine putado
get the other lamp. Jaldi Randi. Swamiji is standing. Jaldi Randi.
Om Nakarpanana Prajaya Dhanen Atyage Naike Amritatvaman Ashuhu Paren Anakam Nehitam Guhayam Viprajate Gatyatayo Vishanti Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sanyasa Yogatyataya Shuddha Sattvaha Te Brahmaloke tu paramantakaale paramritat parimucyanti sarve tahram vipapam parameshma bhutayat pundarikam puramadya sakkastam tatrapi dahram aganam vishokastasmin yadantastadupasitavyam yo vedadau swara prokto vedante cha pratishthitah Tasya prakriti asya yah parassa maheshwaraha Om na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam Nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
हरि ओम स्वामी जी.
Hari Om Swamiji.
I'm going to go upstairs, Sunday. I'm going to go upstairs and log in because this is too hard.
Hari Om, everybody. Some echo is coming. Hari Om. No person has to talk again.
We'll start with the invocation by Anu Nathan.
Okay. Let me take a minute to welcome all of you to this Labor Day camp. We have been having this camp for many, many years, and I have come to Atlanta so many times for this Labor Day camp. And this year, it is a little bit different. The first thing is now we are having it online because of all this COVID, Delta, and all of that. Long ago, Delta used to be an airline. Now Delta is a dangerous thing. Now, second thing, it is different. Now you all have your own brahmacharini there, and I'm sure you'll be having so many classes and so many things happening there. And Brahmacharini Jyoti will be also taking some classes in this camp. So there are a few things which are different this year, but now we will try to see this Kaivalya Upanishad online. I don't know what different, how much different it will be, but I think if we pay attention and imagine that I'm there, I'll also imagine that you're in front of me here, and see if it can be just the same. It's very difficult to make it just the same, but we'll try. Okay. All right. So
Swamiji, Anu Nathan will do the invocation.
now we'll have Anu, who will come on for a minute or two, and then we'll go forward from there.
Okay. Hari Om Swamiji. Hari तुम हरो हरि तुम हरो जनकी पीर द्रौपदी की लाज राकी तुम बढ़ायो चीर हरि तुम हरो जनकी पीर भक्त कारण रूप नर हरि दर्यो आप शरीर हरण कश्यप मारलीन हो दर्यो नादि नदी हरि तुम हरो जनकी पीर भूत दे गजराज क्यों कियो बागर नीर दासी मीरा लाल गिरधर दासी मीरा दासी मीरा दासी मीरा लाल गिरधर दुख जहाँ तहाँ भी हरि तुम हरो जनकी भी द्रौपदी की लाज राखी तुम बढ़ायो छी हरि तुम हरो. Hari Om.
Thank you, Anu. Hari Om. Hari Om Swamiji.
Yeah.
Well, I welcome all of you to the 2021 the spiritual camp of the Chinmaya Mission Atlanta and Chinmaya Mission Alpharetta. And Pujya Swamiji, as he said, that he has been coming and blessing us with these camps since 2015 and before, and we are extremely happy for having Swamiji again this year, though it is online, and let us make it, as Swamiji said, it's a live camp that we are in the presence of our Pujya Swamiji. So these 3 days, we will be listening to Swamiji on Kaivalya Upanishad and also on the Kabir Vani. So we will have Gnanam, Bhakti, Dharma all put together along with the early morning yoga stretching exercises to stimulate our body and the mind. So we already started with yoga this morning, and I'm sure you are very stretched out and invigorated, and we will listen to Swamiji today. And so don't forget, we have 2 talks, one today and one tomorrow, in between 3 and 4 o'clock by Brahmacharya Jyoti ji and Sri Shiva Veluji. So let us take advantage of them and listen to their wise words. Thank you all. Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Hari Om Vargaji, Hari Om to Amma, Hari Om to Brahmachari, and all the people who have joined this camp, this 2021. All right. Like Raghuji said, and I said before, we are seeing now Kaivalya Upanishad. So let us begin by looking first at the word Upanishad. It's a very simple thing. Upanishad is very simply said to be knowledge. Upanishad nama jnanam uchyate. It is said that Upanishad is knowledge. And the word which is used in Sanskrit is jnanam. So let me tell you a little bit about this word, jnanam. Jnana has 2 meanings you will encounter in scriptures. As you read, you have to be careful in which sense it is used. So if you see the Taittiriya Upanishad, for instance, Brahman, the absolute reality, is called as Jnanam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Brahma is called as Jnanam. So this is one sense in which this word is used, Jnanam. It is Brahman only. I mean, it is of the nature of consciousness. Second meaning of the word Jnana means knowledge. Knowledge means what? Knowledge is anything that removes ignorance. Knowledge is the antithesis of ignorance. So, suppose I did not know that there is somebody behind this wall. And then you came and you explained to me that there is somebody behind that wall. So now that is something which I did not know, means I had ignorance of that person behind the wall. And you gave a piece of knowledge which removed that ignorance. So now I know that there is a person behind that wall. You see? So that thing which removed the ignorance, that is also called as jnanam. So these are the two basic senses in which this word is used in our scriptures. You'll find, of course, other ways in which it is used, but basically these are the two ways in which jnanam is used. So now Upanishad is called as jnanam. Jnanam uchyate. So now, in which sense, when we say Upanishad is jnanam, in which sense it is used? Now see this, again, very simply, just listen to the Vedantic presentation. See, all of us are in search of happiness. All of us want to be happy. We don't want anything else, you know. In and through everything we do, we are looking for happiness only. That happiness, if we really follow it, we'll realize we are all looking for mukti, moksha, enlightenment, realization, nirvana, whatever you want to call that thing. Because nobody wants temporary happiness. We want permanent happiness only. And permanent happiness is the way the scriptures have described mukti, enlightenment. This is the way it is described. What we are really looking for, all of us, whether we know, whether we accept, whether we have thought about it, whether we have been introduced to it, that doesn't matter. Really, we are all looking for mukti only, because mukti is the only state of permanent happiness. Now, this statement, when we say we are looking for mukti, is also a statement which is not exactly the truth. The true statement is really, we are all nitya mukta. We are all eternally mukta, free. We are all eternally happy. But it is quite possible that I possess something, or my nature is one thing. My nature is like this, but I take myself to be like that. That is quite possible. Actually, it happens all the time. And at the fundamental level, this is what has happened to all of us. Really speaking, my nature is mukta, nitya mukta, Buddha Swarup, like that. I am eternally free, but I take myself to be bound. In other words, when we look from this standpoint, then it is not that we seeking mukti, or we can find mukti, or it is something to be found. If mukti is something to be found, if reality is something to be found, well, then it enters the realm of Jagat. How? Because in Jagat, there are pairs of opposites. And if something is found, it can also be lost. If something in the Jagat, you know, we have pairs of opposite. There is also always labha and alabha. You know that from Bhagavad Gita. If mukti could be found, and mukti will also be lost. So mukti, really, mukti is not to be found. My nature is mukti. So can we find ourselves? I am what I am, isn't it? I cannot find myself. So then, what is the purpose of this Upanishad Jnanam? The Upanishad Jnanam is very simply put like this. See, my nature is already Mukta Swarupa. I am eternally free. I am unaware of that. I mean, this upati, body, mind, intellect, and it is the intellect with which we know, that intellect is unaware of this fact. What? I am free. So the intellect has ignorance of this fact. That is the idea. When I say I am unaware, it means the intellect is ignorant. So the knowledge of the Upanishad is to remove that ignorance from the intellect. The knowledge of the Upanishad is not to bring mukti. I just told we cannot bring mukti. If we can bring it, then it will also be taken, because you cannot speak of one side of the pairs of opposites. Both are always there. So if it is something that is gained, it is also be something that will be lost. You tell one thing in this world which is gained and never lost. Sukha dukhe samay kritva lava lava jaya jaya. There is always lava and alab, jaya and ajaya, sukha and dukkha. So if mukti was something which is gained, it will fall within those pairs of opposite. It is not gained. My nature is mukta swarupa. So when we say Upanishad, what is Upanishad? Jnanam uchyate. Upanishad nama jnanam uchyate. It is jnan. It means it is that knowledge which removes this ignorance that I am nitya mukta. There's ignorance that I am nitya mukta. I am eternally free. So how simply the rishis have given this so nicely. I have an ignorance of my true self. And the Upanishad is that which removes that ignorance. That is all. So now that is first thing. Second thing is, what is Kaivalya Upanishad? Kaivalya word comes from Sanskrit Kevala. Kevala. This is an abstract form of Kevala. Kevala means one and only, means one without a second. So what is this one without a second? This one without a second is called as Brahman. It is called as the absolute reality. It is called as Satyam Jnanam Anandam. It is called as existence, consciousness, bliss. The one thing which is there. There is no second thing. Actually, this is also very easy to see. One thing without a second. See, now let's just think. See, in this world, if you look around, you don't see one thing. You see countless things, isn't it? We see countless things in this world. So how we go on talking about one all the time? This Upanishad goes on talking about one, and Vedanta talks about one, Kevala, that one reality. Well, let us just take an example. If we look at the ocean, now how many oceans are there? Well, there's Pacific Ocean, and there's Atlantic Ocean, and the Indian Ocean, and the Arabian Sea, and Mediterranean Sea, and so many oceans are there. We go on talking about South China Sea. Now, so many different oceans are there. Then in an ocean also so many waves, countless waves. You don't see one wave. So there's a variety. And then there's froth and bubbles, and the tides rising, high tide, low tide. So many things are there in the ocean. But really, though there is a variety in all of these oceans, there is one fundamental thing which makes up all of the ocean. And that thing is called as H2O, water. Now, from the standpoint of H2O, how many things are there? Only one thing. From the standpoint of names and forms and location and geographical location and all of that, there are so many oceans then. But all of these oceans are names for what? H2O only, isn't it? The same H2O which has made up the variety. Means H2O is appearing as this variety. Indian Ocean and Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean and all like that. It is H2O appearing as Indian Ocean, H2O appearing as Atlantic Ocean. So while you may see a variety, there is an underlying unity. Avibhaktam vivakteshu, vibhaktam ivacha sthitam. Bhagavan explains in Gita, is that one undivided reality. See, you cannot tell the difference between this H2O molecule and the other H2O molecule. It will be exactly same. So there's one undivided reality which appears divided. That one undivided reality is appearing as all of this diversity which we are seeing in front of us. That one undivided reality is called as Kevala. Its abstract form is Kaivalya. So the Kaivalya Upanishad is knowledge about that one reality. And that knowledge is to be fed to whom? That knowledge is to be fed to our intellect. Because where is in ignorance? See, Brahman has no problem. That Kevala Vastu, that one reality, that has no problem. It is our intellect which has a problem, isn't it? This intellect has an ignorance which denies the intellect. Please see this. The intellect has an ignorance which denies the intellect of knowing its own source, its own self. Its own self is of the nature of Satchidananda. But it is shrouded in an ignorance which denies it the opportunity of knowing itself. So that intellect has to be fed this Upanishadic knowledge. When the knowledge is fed to the intellect, the knowledge eradicates the ignorance of the intellect. And an intellect comes to realize, oh, I am Kevala. I am one with that absolute reality. So Kaivalya Upanishad is giving this knowledge. And then how it starts very simply with teacher and taught. Teacher and taught is something deeply embedded in our tradition. A student approaches the teacher and asks the appropriate question, and then the teacher replies like that. So the Kaivalya Upanishad is no different. Now let us get into the Upanishad. I do not know which recension of it on which copy you have with you, but we will. You might be having Chinmay Mission only, which is good. We will chant there's an invocation mantra. I will just briefly tell the meaning of the invocation mantra, but thereafter we will go into the Upanishad fast. Okay, so the invocation mantra is there in several places. It is not specific to this Upanishad, so you will encounter it many places in the Vedas. Okay, I'll chant, and all of you who have that copy in front of you, please join along also. Or maybe you can repeat those lines. Oh, line by line then. Okay, you please try to repeat, because some people may not be able to chant along. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha. Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha. Sthirairangai Stushtuvam Sastanubhihi.
Sthirairangai tuštuvagam sastanubihi.
Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu.
Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu.
Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha.
Swasti na Indro ruddhashravaha.
Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha.
Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha.
Swasti nastarkshyo arishtane
Swasti nastarkshyo arishtane
Swasti no brihaspati dhatu.
Swasti no bruhaspatir dhadhatu.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Bhadram Karnevhi Srinuyama Devaha. O Devas, great gods, may my ears hear those things which are auspicious. Because with ears, people listen to all sorts of things in this world, isn't it? And every day, people go on corrupting the air more and more. In other words, people like to listen to all inauspicious things. And nowadays, and it is now slowly coming to Trinidad also, but in America, all of these musicians, they only sing all trashy things, and that thing is gaining, that is not getting less. So people's ears are hearing all sorts of things, you see. So, and it's not getting less, it's getting more. So here, for a spiritual student, for a sadhaka, spiritual aspirant, he should always be aspiring to listen to those things which are auspicious. So may my ears hear all those things which are auspicious. In other words, may I always listen to something in satsang. That is a simple thing. Bhadram pashyema akshabir yajatraha. May my eyes see those things which are auspicious. There are two things in this. One is physically, literally, may I hear all those things which are auspicious. May I see all those things which are auspicious. Second meaning of that is, when I see something, may I see auspiciousness in that thing. This is a different twist to the same line. In other words, when it is said, we see ourselves in the world. In other words, if I'll give you an example. It is said one day that our Eknathji, he was writing Ramayana, Ram Katha. And then Hanumanji was listening, because wherever Ram Katha is going on, Hanumanji is there. So Eknathji was writing, and then he wrote, when Hanumanji went to his writing, Hanumanji went to Lanka, Sitaji was sitting in the Ashok Vatika, and there Hanumanji saw many white flowers. So Hanumanji said to Eknathji when he wrote him, no, they were not white flowers, they were red flowers. So that dispute came. Eknathji is writing that they were white flowers. Hanumanji telling they were red flowers. Then Hanumanji told to Eknathji, but you were not there. I am the one who was there. So I'm telling it is red flowers. Eknathji said, no, you did not see properly. It is white flowers. They were white flowers. So then both of them summoned Bhagwan Ram. Bhagwan Ram was also in Lanka. Prabhu, this Hanumanji is saying it was red flowers. I am saying it was white flowers. Bhagwan Ram saying both of you are right. Both were right. How? Because Hanumanji there, when he went to this Lanka, in that state of Rajas, because of all the fighting with all the Rakshasas and all of these things, his eyes saw the flowers red, the state of Rajas. And this Eknathji is so sattvic. In his mind's eye, when he's seeing that whole thing, he's seeing the flowers as white. So both are correct only. The idea is we see what is there in the world based on what is there in our mind, whichever goggles we are wearing, we see the world. So, so the second meaning that when I see something in this world, may I see auspiciousness in that thing. It means you wear the goggles of auspiciousness. Then you will see auspiciousness there. And in this world, everything is pervaded by reality. Everything is pervaded by Brahman. So if I have that understanding and that knowledge, then I will see. So it may be something which is ordinarily seen in the world as evil, but when I look, I infuse the coloring of my mind into that thing. You see? Bhadram pashyema akshavihi yajatraha stirehi angaihi sushtuvagam sastanuvihi. May all my limbs be hale and hearty and strong. In other words, may this body allow me the opportunity to see. I have to lift this thing. So I have to pick up my Upanishad. I have to pick up, and especially the Ramayana. It's such a big book. So if my body is not hale and hearty, I will not be able to do sadhana. That is the idea. I'll not be able to get up in the morning. And like this, just now Raghuji was telling that everybody got up and stretched and everything. So may my body be hale and hearty so I can study, even to see properly the words and all that. May all my limbs, Vashema, Devahitam Yadayuhu, and may I live the full length of my life and live it purposefully, fruitfully. Studying Upanishad Jnanam. You see? Swastina Indra Vriddhashravaha, Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha. May Indra and may Surya Bhagwan and Vayu, may they all bless me. And Brihaspati, who is the Lord, Guru of all the gods and all. Brahmaji also, Brihaspati is called sometimes. So may all the gods bless me. In other words, may all my faculties and all work fine. Eyes and ears and my mind and all that. And bless me for what? Not just to bless me so that I will have a nice day. In this country, everybody wish everybody have a nice day. I wish you good luck in your exam. I wish you good luck in your interview. I wish you what is that? Have a nice flight. We go on wishing. Here it's not for that. This is may I be blessed. May I have good faculties and may I live all what? So I can do sadhana. I can acquire Upanishad Jnanam. It is being said for that only. May the teacher and the taught synchronize with each other, and whatever is disseminated by the teacher may be absorbed by the taught. That is, and may all the faculties feed into that type of interaction. That is the idea. May all the faculties be like that. Okay. Now, this is just briefly the Invocation Mantra. You can, if Puja Gurudev also will give commentary on that, you can read that and see. But now to get directly to the Upanishad, because we have something like 24 verses, 25 verses, and I have 6 classes and 6 classes. I have to complete 4 verses every class, otherwise we'll be behind. All right, so now how the Upanishad starts very nicely. No need to give introduction. Let us see the words, and then the introduction will come in those words only. I will chant those words and you please try to repeat. Om Atha Ashwalayanaha. Ashwalayanaha. Om Atha Ashwalayanaha.
Om Atha Ashwalan.
Bhagavantam Parameshtinam. Bhagavantam Parameshtinam. Upasametya Uvacha. Upasametya Uvacha. This literally means, I'll tell the meaning and then we'll see the words. Thereafter, Ashvalayana approached Brahmaji and said or asked. Like that. This is literal meaning. But the words in Sanskrit, they are really, really loaded with a lot of nice meaning. It's an Atha word. Also, you'll see Puja Gurudev gives such nice commentary. And everywhere, Atha is a word which is used in the scriptures to indicate, means that this student has gone through the entire gamut of spiritual sadhana and practices and studies and all of that. And he has come to the final leg of his journey where he really needs Atma Jnana, the knowledge about the self, which removes the ignorance of the intellect. He has gone through all the things already. This word indicates this thing. That is not, in other words, this Ashvalayana who is approaching Brahmaji, he is not just an ordinary student. He is a very exalted, advanced student. So once the word Atha has come there, you will see in Brahma Sutras, or you'll see in our Narad Bhakti Sutras, everywhere, this word comes. It means a certain amount of spiritual practices has already preceded. And therefore, the student is not ready for some higher knowledge, not just any simple thing. So this is indicating then that Ashvalayana was a very exalted student. This is first thing. And that will be seen just now in the question he asked. And see, this is a very important thing. The type of question which is asked is also an indication of the type of student. So he goes to Brahmaji, Bhagavantam Parameshtinam, and Upasametya also word is very very significant word. Upasametya means he approached Brahmaji in the proper way. He approached Brahmaji nicely, respectfully, at the right time. Everywhere you'll see this also indicated. Puja Gurudev used to joke about this thing. Once he was stepping into a train, 1 foot already in the train and 1 foot outside still. And then somebody came and at that point said, Gurudev, please tell me Atma Jnana. 1 foot in the train and 1 foot outside, that's not place for Atma Jnana. So right time, right place, right circumstances. In Ram Gita, in Ramayana, you'll see, Ek baar Prabhu sukha asina, Lakshman kahe bachana chala hina, like that. So Lakshman asked at the right time. Bhagavan was sitting very nicely, So right timing. Then in the appropriate, so timing and all of that, and also the appropriate manner and fashion. Sagru mevabhigacchit samit pani hi shrutram brahmanishtam. In Upanishad also it tells he's supposed to go with something in his hand. So approaching is a big thing in Upanishad and all. Approaching the teacher. So the Upasametya word means, it indicates that this Ashvalayana went very nicely to Brahmaji and in right time and in the right way and all, following all the rules. And then he said means he asked, requested of that great teacher. Now see, who he approached? Bhagavantam Parameshtinam. He approached also a very exalted teacher. Because if we want an exalted knowledge, we have to approach the exalted teacher. So he approaches Brahmaji himself, who Brahmaji had taught to all the his mind-born sons and all, Ashwini Kumars and all, yet given this Atma Jnana to them also. So Brahmaji is the one who manifests all things in the world, and he is the one who will have first-hand knowledge of all things in the world. So he approaches the right teacher. This is a very good thing, actually. Actually, much comment need not be given on these sort of things, because the world has very natural laws about them, that if a person wants candy, he will go to the candy shop. Correct or not? If he wants ice cream, he will go to the ice cream shop. Well, the same thing for Atma Jnana. Whatever type of knowledge I want, that is the type of guru I will go to only. So our Ashwalayana wanted this highest knowledge. So he goes to the highest authority. He will not stop on the way and ask any other thing. So he goes to the best student, goes to the best teacher. And there he asks now from that teacher in a very, very nice verse. Now see, so many things are laid out in this first shloka, in this first mantra of the Upanishad. See this, huh? I will chant and you try to repeat now. Very nice mantra. Adhihi Bhagavan Brahma Vidyam Varishtham Sada Sadbhi Sevyamanam Nigudham Yaya Chirat Sarva Papam Vyapohya Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidwan. First word that comes out from the mouth of Ashwalayana as he goes there, Adhihi. Hey Bhagavan, Adhihi means teach me. Teach me. Adhihi means please teach me. What? Next word. How very nicely put. Next word. So no, in other words, actually, we should learn this type of communication. It's very, very good. When we go there, in English language, you say, no beating around the bush. No beating around the bush. Get straight to the point. It's a very, very important thing. He tells very nicely also, Ajihi, in a respectful form, that is in Sanskrit. Please, you teach me. Hey Bhagavan, Brahma Vidyam Varishtam means the most exalted of all knowledges in this world, which you call as Brahma Vidya. You teach me that thing. You don't teach me any of those other things, Teach me Brahma Vidya. Reveal to me. Tell me that. And then Ashwalayana himself tells, this knowledge is Brahma Vidya, which I want you to teach to me. Sada Sadvi Sevyamanam Nigudham. It is Nigudham. It is hidden from me. It is secretive. It is concealed. Nigudham. And it is all the time sought by all the great people, by all great ones, all exalted ones, all the really divine people, they seek the Sadbhi. So I want that knowledge which is sought by them. And that knowledge which is Nigudam. Then Yaya Achirat Sarva Papam Vyapohya. That knowledge by which quickly all sins, papam word is used, a very strong word, I'll tell you just now. All sins are dropped. That means that knowledge which causes the dropping of all sins. Then Parat Param Purusham Yati Vidwan. That supreme knowledge which causes that person to reach that supreme reality. So the language which is being used is reaching the reality. Yati means he goes. Yati word means the Vidwan, the knowledgeable one who gets this knowledge of the Upanishad, he goes to that supreme state. So it is spoken about or spoken of as going. But remember, I told you in the beginning, we don't go anywhere. Actually, I'll tell you what it means. It's like this. When I told you in beginning that I am ignorant of the man behind that wall, then somebody comes and tells me, it gives me a piece of knowledge about the existence of that man behind the wall, right? So that piece of knowledge which he gives me removes the ignorance which was there in my mind. I was ignorant of that man behind the wall. So the knowledge which the person gave removed that ignorance. And now I am knowledgeable about that person. The ignorance is gone. So I have moved from a state of ignorance to a state of knowledge. But did I move anyway? We speak like that in English now. I have moved from a state of ignorance to a state of knowledge. Previously, I was in a state of ignorance. Now I have moved to a state of knowledge. So we use the word move, but really I have not moved anywhere. You see, I have changed my position. All these English words are used like this, but really I'm still safe right there. I did not go anywhere. So the yati word is being used in this sense. Huh? The vidwan, the knowledgeable one who gets this knowledge of Upanishad, who gets the knowledge of Brahma Vidya, which is being sought by the Rishi, this vidwan goes to a state of enlightenment. That is the idea. So it's going, not going somewhere. Okay, so now let's see these words again from beginning very quickly. And Adhihi, I told you it is a respectful form of please, like when we say in English, please teach me, like that. Huh? Not that we go to Brahmaji, hey, if you don't teach me, you know, then we'll have it out. Like, not like that. You better teach me, or else what you can't go and approach it like that and tell. Though in Bhakti Marg, you know, in Bhakti Marg is Bhaktas like Surdas ji, Hanuman ji and all, they talk to Bhagwan in whichever way they want. But if you become a Bhakta like Surdas ji or Hanuman ji, then you can talk to Bhagwan also like that. Like Surdas ji once told Bhagwan, he said, Prabhu, Bhagwan, Shri Krishna was running away from him. Surdas ji was trying to catch him. And then Surdas ji stopped and said, okay, you're running. Okay, run. But I want to see you run out from my heart. Try. You can't. He challenges Bhagwan also. But here, in this path of Atma Jnana, very nicely, one is supposed to ask. So, Atihi Bhagavan, Hey Bhagavan, O Lord. And then we are supposed to ask for the proper knowledge when we approach such a teacher. Brahma Vidya, Varishtha means most superior knowledge, exalted knowledge. And that knowledge is sought after by all the great sadhakas. Now see, this is a very important thing. Huh? You just see your daily life. You just, or you and all the people around you also. When we wake up in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, what I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking about my day. I will do this, I will do that. And if I don't do this in time, that will not be achieved in time. And if that is not achieved, then it will lead to a string of failures because this thing is dependent on this. And then this one is dependent on this and then like that. And you go on calculating and planning and, you know, all sorts of things. And this is all going on unconsciously in the mind. Because the mind has been taught and groomed in a particular way, conditioned in a particular way over so many of years of your life and all that. So your mind naturally gravitates towards this type of thinking rather than that. And it says, Sada Sadbhi Sevyamanam Nigudha. This supreme knowledge is constantly sought after by Sadbhi, by the Satpurusha. right? Constantly. In other words, this gives us, all of us, a very good measuring rod to see whether I am ready for this Atma Jnana. When I wake up in the morning, does my mind first of all think, oh, this Atma Jnana, this Brahma Jnana, when I will get it? Am I going to get this thing? If this thought is not there constantly in my mind, and I'm really consumed by and taken up by all of the worldly things, that means to say, I'm not at the level of this Ashwalina, and this Atma Jnana will not come to me very soon. In other words, I have to work towards bringing this state to my mind. But when am I going to get this Atma Jnana? One more day today will go and I will not get this Atma Jnana. Constantly, sada satbhi, all the time they seek this. Sada word is there. So, in other words, you see how often the desire for Atma Jnana comes in your mind. This is for your own measuring rod and for all of us. How often does this desire for Atma Jnana come in my mind? Or am I just taken up with only all the worldly things? It's a measuring rod for all of us. And the Atma Jnana is described as Nigudha. It is secretive, not secretive because somebody has hidden it from us or anything like that. Huh? Bhagavan doesn't have any conspiracy to hide Atma Jnana from us. There's no such thing. It is just that it is subtle. It is subtle. You know, it is like this hand has this hand can catch this microphone. This hand can catch the other. So the hand can go on catching things. But the power of catching, which is there in the hand, that is a subtle thing which cannot be caught by the hand. The power of catching is it can catch things, but the power of catching cannot be caught by the hand. Look how subtle it is. It is right behind the power, the catching. You see? So like that, the Atma Jnana is subtle like that. Therefore, it is called as Nigudha. It is secretive, subtle. It is not easily caught. And yaya achirat sarva papam vyapohya. And it is that knowledge by which all papa is quickly. Actually, if you see the form of the Sanskrit, it's a very instructive thing actually. Quickly, having dropped all papa, the person reaches a state of enlightenment. So by this knowledge, the person having dropped all papa reaches a state of enlightenment. This will be the literal having dropped. The gerund form is used there. So when I get this knowledge, I drop all papa. Now see, when we get the knowledge, all ignorance is removed, isn't it? When I get the knowledge, all ignorance is removed. And when ignorance is removed, I move from a state of ignorance to a state of knowledge. Now, the word papa then will mean what? This is one of the broadest words in Sanskrit. Papa actually is all ignorance and all products of ignorance. This is the broadest sense in which it is used, because he's saying, getting this knowledge will afford me the ability to drop all papa. And when I drop all papa, I reach a state of enlightenment. So it means what? The papa here really stands for all ajnana and all its products. I will drop this ajnana and all of its products. And Having dropped that, I reach a state of enlightenment. It means the shroud of ignorance is removed, and I am there in my own self, Nitya Mukta. This is the idea. I'm there in my own self, eternally Mukta. So, hey Bhagavan, you please tell this knowledge. So, the request from Ashwalayana to Brahmaji is just one line. The rest of the verse, the other 3 lines of the verse, is really praise of that knowledge. One line is a request of the knowledge, and the rest of the verse is actually praise of that knowledge. How great is this knowledge? What it does, it tells also what it brings mukti, and is sought after by all the great knowledgeable ones. And it is the highest of knowledge, like that. It is just praising that knowledge. And it is praising the knowledge in beginning. Also, the Upanishad is so good. Why? Because we cannot say, you please seek this knowledge. This knowledge is so useless thing. Maybe it might help you, it may not help you. You know, God knows what it will do. If we present knowledge like that, who will seek? The knowledge is being eulogized, praised so highly, and sought after by the great knowledgeable ones, and it brings mukti. Achieve that. Fast, immediately. Okay, so this is the approach of the Guru Upasadana, it is called. These are all technical things are there. I don't want to make this class too technical. We'll see. Just you think, use the measuring rods with us there. How often do I think about when am I going to get mukti? Is it sada, always? Or like maybe once a month, or I think maybe once a week? I remember, there's something called mukti. Yes, I heard that in that class, there was something called mukti. What is that thing again? Okay, so we have to pick out the measuring rods for our own life. Don't think about other person. Hey, how often do you think about mukti? Not like that. You should not be asking anybody. I should be thinking about myself. All right. Okay. So now then our next class will be at 10 o'clock. All right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone. Just like Swamiji just said, our next class is at 10 a.m. and please be present at least 10 minutes before to listen to the wonderful Swaranjali. I know we're all missing the excellent hot breakfast by Geeta Ji that we usually get in our live camps, and hopefully we'll do it next year. We will be there, so have a great breakfast, and we will see you all sharp at 9:50. Hari Om.